Hello and welcome. Hope everyone is doing good. I am doing absolutely fantabuloso. Um, yeah, we're getting into it now, aren't we? Really? Just remember the longest day of the year is only just round the corner. Bit scary that, but yeah, it's been good for the garden. The ferns have been loving this weather, so happy days. And so is the rest of it. Actually, I can't really say more than that. So yeah, just a quick update really. We'll have a quick sort of stomp around, but I'm not going to go around and look at everything, just the points of interest that I've done over the last few weeks or whatnot. So yeah, let's get to it. You'll probably see, well, you probably won't see, but you can see if you look dead ahead at where the Willemi pine is there at the back, and you look above it, that trellis is done. Last time I put the light cable, I haven't put the light in yet, but I can do that now. I've put that in, so yeah, I've done that. The clematis back there, which we'll go and have a look at, it sort of had climbed up the wires, and then it sort of reached the top and it had nowhere to go, so it had sort of given up. So I've forced it up over the top and tied it in just for now, just to see if I can reinvigorate it a little bit. It's struggling a little bit, that one. But yeah, otherwise let's crack on. Beautiful day, as you can see. Yeah, so let's start down here. Bamboo is going quite well after my sort of doubts last time. You can see we've got a couple of good spikes coming up there. There's one on the right there. There's another one there next to the tennis ball, which I forgot to clear out. So yeah, he looks alive. I'll probably give it another feed because it is in a pot, and I'm still umming and ahhing about taking, stripping back the bottom of it up to at least the top of the lantern height, mainly to give this hibiscus here a bit of room to stretch its legs, because it's growing into it at the moment. This Aphenis hasn't opened up the main crown, which is slightly annoying because it did look like it was going to be an absolute monster. But yeah, for whatever reason it struggled, probably me moving it right when everything was going to come out. But there we go. You see the two gingers. The one on the right obviously gets a bit more sun by the look of it, so yeah, but we'll leave them in there. I've got another place for them at the moment. The Lepidopoda there in the middle, which is a bit of a place sitter, is starting to look a bit scraggly, but it is what it is. So yeah, down here we got the Willemi pine, the Norfolk Island pine here. Always looks good from above, these ones, snowflakey. Last time I said I'd left it out in the cold and it browned off a bit. You can see a hint of that, but you can also see the green stuff on the outside, which is starting to grow. So don't know if it will recover the brown stuff, but hopefully as it grows it will cover it up in its own time. The two to the left and right of it are actually my giant honeysuckle cuttings. I gave myself a 10% chance of successfully rooting, or not rooting any, but bringing any through winter, and two of the three have survived, as you can see. So that's not bad going by anyone's stretch. But I don't know if anyone can help me, but yeah, what do I do with these now? They've survived. They've chucked out a new leaf when they were inside, so I've bought them outside, but now they've sort of haven't done anything for a week or so. I don't know if that's just their adjusting, but if anyone can tell me, should I pot them up or do something with them, because I'd like to use them over behind us, which we'll look at in a minute. So this one here was a little bulb I bought off the Nephrolopist, but God knows what's going on here. We've got this massive like green thing that looks like a lime in there. So yeah, who knows, alien in the situation. So yeah, what I'd like to do in the long term is with if I can get those two giant honeysuckles to root properly, is use them here when I build up a bed either side of the window, and then I'll do it like a double layered bed, double layered pots or planters, whatever you want to call them, and hopefully send the giant honeysuckle one up where the lantern is and one up where the lizard is, and then in front of them, probably as they are there, almost the tetrapanax and the sago palm, put them in front at a slightly lower level, and then have room for chairs like they are there. Speaking of the tetrapanax, I'm a bit kind of not distraught, but it's a shame when I took it out of the ground, and it's kind of like, there's like a shadow of its former self, if you know what I mean, there in the pot. I feel a bit sorry for it, but ultimately it's kind of deciduous, so I couldn't rely on it where it was. I haven't got anywhere to put it at the moment. I'll probably end up putting it out the front, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's in a sorry state, and we'll see what happens now the sun's getting on it a bit. But yeah, I feel a little bit sad about that one. Moving on, these climbers. The climbers have been really interesting to me, actually. These are two passion flowers, and I just like the way these things grow. I've been looking at them, and they sort of got these, if I can get a good light on it, these tendrils which come off, and I've worked out sort of what it does. I know I'm, you know, call me Einstein and all that, but this one up here, you can see I've tied it in up there, and then it sagged right down, and then one of the tendrils caught, and then I've worked out what they do is they spin the tendril around about 2 or 3 times on the actual wire, and then they coil the excess back to the stem, which then pulls it into what it's caught onto. And it's been quite good watching them, because it actually happens pretty quickly. If we yeah, do you like my also, do you like my funky wires I've done with them? I've done them in like coils. The idea was that I was going to run the plants the opposite way into like a double helix, which would be kind of Jurassic Park DNA mosquito in amber type thing, but hasn't quite worked like that. They go where they want to go. But yeah, this one here was hanging off, and I'd sort of, the tendril caught, and then within 2 days the second tendril had caught, and it had pulled itself back up, and then I just gave it a helping hand, like I said, trying to run it the opposite way. So yeah, it's been quite fun watching them. I don't know if they'll flower this year. Hopefully they do. But the other thing I've done here is I've run, as you've just seen, I've run wires. I've got a few more to do. I ran out of stuff, but I've run wires up in that. I've also done the bit around the front. I don't know if you'll see it over there, but can you see the 2 wires I've done and drilled through these things? Almost killed myself because one of them wasn't screwed in and it fell on my head, but I sorted that out now. So the idea is that the giant honeysuckle will climb up there, catch on, come across here. The tracheospermum down there in amongst the trellis will run up and amongst all that lot, and then the 2 passion flowers will run over the top as well, like this one is already, and the other one will do as well, hopefully, and then give me a kind of a roof of plants. They're all evergreen as far as I'm aware. I mean, the giant honeysuckle semi-evergreen, but then hopefully when it's reached the end they'll all droop down, and we'll have like flower, you know, walking in and out of the flowers. I have no idea if any of them are scented, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So over here my thoughts have mainly been just kind of not what I'm going to do in future, but you can see my clothes area there, which I've left out purposely. And what it is, it's a twofold prong of attack, if you like. We've got the washing line there, which is fine. That's going to be a patio in the end, and I'll leave the sort of the spike in the ground so that it can be used. But it's a bit annoying when the weather's good and the sun's coming from our left and hitting, you know, where the bananas are. I'm not getting any use of those seats there, and they're good, those seats, because they're the only aspect where you can't see any neighbours, because you're sort of facing back towards us to the corner, and the over to the left is bungalows, so they don't come over the top of the fence, and it's big open sky. But when it's sunny, we've got the clothes on the line, you know, you're not going to sit up there and just look at clothes, so it's a bit of a, not a waste, but just a you know, low level annoyance, I'll call it. So I was thinking, and also when it rains you've got to run out and, you know, got to run out and put it all in and all that sort of thing. And then you go over here, put it on the area, half the straight white metal poles fall out, and then as you put the other ones in, the other side falls out, and then the rage descends. So I want to get rid of that thing and put a kind of wall hung clothesline under there, because it's got the roof on it, and that'll at least, you know, give me something to put it on, you know, out of the way. So just thinking what to do with that, probably against that back fence post, the one in the center, and have it come out towards us, and then I can put some benches where the fibrosa and the seats are, and it'll sort of be behind that, so I'm not losing anything from there. Or maybe off one of these walls where it gets a bit more sun. I haven't decided with that, haven't looked at any wall hung clothes on. I take it it's going to be kind of like the one I've got, but wall hung, or one of the ones you can get, which is all wires, retractable wires, but I'm not sure how much I'd get on them. So yeah, so speaking of the fibrosa, he's doing quite well, throwing up new fronds. He is there and he gets a little bit of sun, but I'll probably, what I do with him when it's raining is I chuck him out past the roof so he can get a good water. So he has been getting a good water. Moving around here, the Tracheospermum jasminoides is going really well. I don't know whether to leave it like this and just leave them all overhanging, or whether to tuck them back in and amongst the sort of trellis. I like the sort of 3D effect of them, so I might just leave them. Hopefully this one that's coming towards us, these two will catch onto this wire and it will start running up that way, and hopefully it'll go over the top of the seat there, because this Phacedoras really, I don't think is long for this world or long for this garden, because it's not doing anything. You can see the one just behind the seat at the bottom there is black and sort of died off to the back. None of these are growing. And also, when I'm looking at this aspect of the garden, it's really nice now the new Fatsia leaves are out, because it's starting to just get that glimmer of a canopy with the fig tree sort of coming. So I kind of feel like I need something big there, probably another Fatsia, maybe is it Pseudopanix laetus, something like that. And because the maidenhair is actually doing really well, if we can see it, it's actually starting to spread exactly as I planned. I do love it when a plan comes together. That Phacedoras is right in the spot where I'm probably going to need something quite high and sort of 3D rather than a climber. But yeah, we'll sort of see how it goes. I can't remember if I said last time or not, but we've got the Hydrangea Samanii in there. That's gonna, when that grows up another few inches, I'll tuck it in behind that and let it climb up all this, and then I'll probably dot some pockets on it when it's climbed up. I'm going to continue the wires across the top of the pergola as well, and then I'm going to do like a spider web effect off of the climbing frame. So I'll put some hooks on top of the pergola where you can see the two hooks now, run it across to there, and then in a triangle back to the other angle of the pergola, and then the middle fence post do like a similar thing, and then over in the corner a similar thing. So it's sort of like triangles all the way down, and then let the climbers run riot on it. Now, last time I said about creating a sort of canopy and taking all the bottoms off, I was a bit reluctant to, because obviously when a leaf goes yellow, it's the nutrients being drawn back into the plant. But they all sort of started falling off, so I've done that to an extent. It would look a lot more canopy-ish, if that makes sense. But you can, well, you can't see, but there's new Fatsias underneath there that are giving it that sort of low canopy, but I'll just leave them. Tree ferns are doing alright. You can see we've got this big frond of the Cyathea out, so I mean that is probably up to my chin height, so I would say 1.5 meters, that's sort of standing, something like that. So not bad. It's a shame that one got frosted off, that I turned the heating off one day early. Otherwise I would have had another one there, but hey ho, that's how it goes. Dixonia is going well. Even this little plant Dixonia is starting to get some real size to it now. It all looks a bit, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of like similar, if you know what I mean. There's not much contrast in there, but you can see the Schefflera behind, so that should come up a bit. And then I'm hoping when if I can keep the Cyathias alive, then they'll sort of size up that next size, and it'll sort of just create a difference there. But yeah, the Fatsias are really looking good. I'm glad that one at the back in the corner has got a lot more leaves on it, because it sort of stripped itself bare last winter. If we move around again, I've got a similar thing here where the Cyathea and the Trata are quite sort of similar looking. There's no contrast there, but I'm hoping in a few years, if I can keep it alive, this Cyathea, which has got this frond coming up here, will size up to the one we just looked at, and then that Trata isn't going to get much bigger than that, so it'll sort of give us a bit of definition. And because all of the leaves have fallen off, I'm hoping that Hydrangea Samanii, which is actually struggling, it was doing really well, but it's struggling now, but hopefully now it's getting a bit of air to it and a bit of light, it will take off. This maidenhair is doing really well down here as well, so that will hopefully spread through. And yeah, pretty good really. This Cyathea has woken up a bit. You can see the frond finally came out. This one's come out a bit mangled, but yeah, you know, at least it's not dead, and that was not in a coil, that one. So I think the coils do keep them alive, and it also just, you know, helps them move on. Schefflera is doing really well. We're really looking forward to this one, like, you know, finally finishing off probably in a month's time. Next month it'll be pretty good, that one, I think. Moving around, this Pilostagia verbenoids has gone absolutely crazy. It really likes it there, and it's starting to climb really well, so good, happy days. Blacknum's doing well. You can see it's sending out some new fronds, and it's not sending out any runners, which the other one has. We'll go and have a look at. So I'm half wondering if that one might actually grow into a trunk. Canna's a bit asleep still. This Blacknum isn't really doing a lot, but it's only gone in this year, so we'll see what happens with that. Now, you may remember me talking about biological warfare with the slugs and them eating the Scheffleras, saying I was going to move some aphids across. This one did have a couple of aphids on it, and believe me, I've come out at night and there's been slugs all over this because it's quite a wet bed, but they haven't touched this one, whereas the other ones they have, which haven't got the aphids on. So I think that's something to think about going forward, because the ants, I'm probably pretty sure, are protecting it. But yeah, we'll see. Again, have a look at that clematis now. It was bent over and had gone over where the ladder is, sort of to that thing, and then it stopped, so I've just peeled it back up and put it up there. So hopefully that will sort of reinvigorate it a little bit. Atratus still looking good. Lophosaurus starting to go. Need that to size up because it keeps getting frosted off because it's so small, but yeah, we'll see. And the Willemi starting to grow. Actually, it looks really funny, this. Like, it just, I don't know, it's kind of not what I expected, but yeah, it's growing. It's lost all the little bulbils, and it's adding on to these old leaves as well, which is quite surprising. I didn't realize it was going to do that. I thought it was going to get bigger as it got higher. So yeah, that one will probably go in the ground next year, I would imagine. Over there, it's all much of a muchness really. Everything's doing okay over there, apart from one of the things has died. The other banana pup's doing all right. In this centre bed again, much of a muchness, just except, oh, you can just see the Blacknum has run there, just 6 inches to the left of the Schefflera, so that one's already running, which is what I wanted to do. I'm just a little bit worried about whether it's going to outcompete the Schefflera there, but yeah, we'll see what happens. So finally, coming over here, this clematis has stopped as well. I think I bent it over too far. You can see I bent it down to try and get it down. I think that messed it up a little bit, but that's the thing with the climbers. It's now sending out little shoots off the other bits back, which I take it will go at some point. Okay, right, it's a couple of hours after where I just left it because the neighbour came to the door with a package, so I went for a beer with him, and then the family returned. We had our first sprinkler session, and you can see I need to work on the drainage for the garden for the grass. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, so really just last thing is just this giant Burmese honeysuckle. It's really going some, happy days. If I come around here, you can see this one coming up here. That actually has come all the way from the bottom. That's taken 3 weeks to do that, so it is going some. And yeah, I quite like this climber because it's kind of, it grows very logically, and what I mean by that is that it's got loads of points that it can grow from. So it grows from a few, and then the ones that are best suited, it then sort of carries on and keeps the others in reserve, and then if something happens to one of the other ones, it then shoots out one of the other ones, kind of like if any of you have played Rome Total War, you will know what I mean. So yeah, it's going some. Hopefully it will catch on to this again and carry on up. And then I've cut away the heating for now. The coil's still down there, and then what I'll do is I'll run it quite integrally properly next year. But yeah, it's going well, can't complain at that. That had no right to survive the winter, and it did. So yeah, how much of that was down to the bananas that were in here, or the heating, we'll find out next year, I guess, because the bananas are not there anymore. So yeah, I just need the Schefflera to size up. That one's getting mullered by slugs. I'm going to import some aphids over and see if the theory works with the ants protecting it. And that's about that. So I'll dive over this massive pool of water, come back here. Yeah, you can really get I definitely need to work on the drainage for that. So if you're wondering what I'm going to do with that, is I'm going to get my garden fork, jam it right, jam the, is it the tines, is that what they call, jam the things right down, so it's right down there, wiggle it backwards and forwards to open up a massive hole, and then chuck probably grit down there, agricultural grit, and then just do that all the way along, I think, 'cause it's quite heavy clay here. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, going forward, I'm going on holiday, so I haven't got any money to spend on it at the moment. And I think what I'll probably do just for this year, it's funny because with the big stuff I was kind of thinking I'll do the waterfall first because it's right at the back, then the patio, then the grass, then the pergola, and I'm actually going to end up probably doing it the other way around and work my way, and I'll do the patio next, just because 300 quid should get me the patio set and the bark and all that to finish that off, and then I can concentrate on the waterfall. I just have to make sure I cover it when I'm doing all the block work and whatnot. So yeah, really it's just let it grow, let it grow, let it grow. Anyway, hope you're all enjoying the sun. I'm going to go back over the neighbours and see if I can have another beer with them, and yeah, enjoy the night. Hope you all enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. See you next